humbly welcome our very last but not least speaker for the session, Miss Isabelle Fonverne, who will be talking to us about level crossing and trespass incidents, a worldwide safety challenge for the railway operations. Please welcome Miss Isabelle Fonverne to deliver her presentation. Isabelle, welcome aboard.
Good morning. I'm very proud and honored to present you today the UIC Global Railway Safety Issues. I will share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Perfectly so. It's on.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I will share with you some UIC statistics and also present level crossing safety, trespass and suicide prevention activities carried out by UIC on a worldwide level. Now I invite you to watch this short video produced jointly by Network Rail in the UK and the UIC at the occasion of ILCAD, the International Level Crossing Awareness Day, on the 10th of June 2021, to target distracted level crossing users with the motto, "Distraction kills, beware the bubble." Sorry. There is no good risk assessment for possible safety improvement without any accurate data. Our safety database exists since 2006 and records descriptions of significant railway accidents. All UIC members are invited to participate on a voluntary basis. It contains information on more than 40,000 accidents in 33 countries. On the basis of the information contained in our database, the UIC issues 2 statistical reports on accidents each year, a public report available on internet and a confidential report with an access limited to participating countries. You see here the split of by type of accidents in 2020. You see that 78% of accidents involved unauthorized persons on railway tracks, 13% involved level crossing users. That means that over 90% of accidents are caused by third parties. Those accidents, and particularly collisions at level crossings with long and heavy vehicles, might cause long rail and road traffic disruption, huge damages on the rail infrastructure, the surroundings and the rolling stocks, and also high impact in the media and the public. Casualties be our customers, railway staff or level crossing users. It has also a social and economic impact in case of casualties or because of traffic interruption. According to the European Railway Agency and UIC, the number of accidents at level crossings has been decreasing since 2018, more at active level crossings than at passive crossings. Meanwhile, the number of active crossings has increased and the number of passive crossings has very slightly decreased. According to ERA, in the 28 countries of the European Union, there are over 100,000 level crossings, of which over the half is protected. We count 300 fatalities annually due to accidents at level crossings, and total related costs are estimated to 1 billion euros a year, with 850 million euros for casualties only. Level crossing user fatalities represent over 30% of all railway fatalities, but only 1% of road fatalities. In 2020, we've seen a decrease of level crossing accidents during lockdown periods because of the COVID-19 pandemic, although rail and road traffic had dropped drastically during the various lockdown periods in many countries around the world. Several collisions and casualties at level crossings were unfortunately reported. This, coupled to a greater number of trespass events, has not meant that running fewer trains reduces the number of instances. With the end of lockdowns, as the number of trains started to recover towards nearer the former normal levels, there was a greater risk that the number of collisions and casualties at level crossings might have increased, especially as drivers and pedestrians became used to far fewer trains running. Here we see clearly a decrease of trespassing cases in the first lockdown period in April and May, and an increase at almost the same usual level during the second lockdown period in the autumn. In some cases, some people, dog walkers, joggers, families with kids, started to use level crossings or tracks on open lines as lifestyles changed with working from home. Some countries saw an increase in near misses with those new level crossing users or long tracks. An ideal world would be without level crossings, but we know that it's not possible. And according to UIC Safety Database estimates, there are over 500,000 level crossings worldwide, the USA accounting for almost 40% and Europe over 20%. It is therefore vital that road users crossing the railways at this interface respect the traffic signs and signals that are there to protect pedestrians, cyclists, and road users. Level crossing safety issues are global, and the UIC Global Level Crossing Network, shared by Alan Spence from Network Rail in the UK, gathers over 40 members, mainly in railway infrastructure managers, but also people from the road sector and academics from the EU, USA, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. GLCN program of work is mainly based on the 5 E's: engaging, evaluating, engineering, enforcement, and education. As far as engaging is concerned, there is no possible safety improvement at the road and rail interface if those sectors do not collaborate. When you know that in the EU only 1% of road accidents and fatalities happen at level crossings, and that those accidents represent almost 30% for the railways, you understand why the road sector is so reluctant to tackle jointly this issue with the railway sector. This is why over the last decade, UIC, the International Union of Railways in Paris, has been collaborating with various international organizations to kick off a dialogue with the road sector. The main results were UIC video produced with the European Commission at the occasion of ILCAT 2010. We have organized also jointly with the European Commission various workshops on level crossing safety. I am personally a member of the UNECE in Geneva, working party on road traffic safety at the origin of the Vienna Convention and the road traffic signs and signals. In 2014, we set up together a group of experts on level crossing safety that published a final report of recommendations in 2017. The UIC and the UN in Geneva jointly produced a video for decision makers at the occasion of ILCAT 2014. The UIC also, with the International Road Transport Union and Operation Lifesaver Estonia, produced level crossing safety flyers for professional drivers, available in over 20 languages on our website. We are currently working with the International Road Federation on future safety flyers for drivers of light vehicles. We have been collaborating with FIA, the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, the Automotive International Federation. We are evaluating also in our group in 2021. We have carried out level crossing risk analysis method. We launched a questionnaire to make a benchmark that we sent to our members at the end of July, and the results will be presented at the next group meeting on the 4th of November. We aim at publishing UIC guidelines for our members in 2022. About engineering, our group is a platform to exchange on best practices. As far as engineering is concerned, we tackle also innovative solutions. The UIC also coordinated an EU project called Safer LC and published a toolbox available online that offers updated road and rail infrastructure best engineering measures to increase safety at level crossings. For education, ILCAD, the International Level Crossing Awareness Day, is the most successful education-related piece of work of our group. In 2009, it was stated that some members of the group were already organizing level crossing safety campaigns on a national level only. Decision was taken to fix an international day in June each year to celebrate level crossing safety. Today, almost 50 countries, including South Africa, take part in the campaign, mainly railway members of UIC and road safety advocates, carrying out smaller or greater activities. The event is launched every year by a participating country through an international conference co-organized with UIC. Last year and this year, we had to organize it remotely because of COVID-19. So on the 10th of June, we organized an international online conference in 3 languages that took place at the initiative of UIC and Network Rail. We had over 300 people from 47 countries from all continents, with speakers from all around the world, including from South Africa. 98% of collisions with vehicles at level crossings are caused by failure to comply with the traffic rules, either deliberately or accidentally. Vulnerable people also overlook sometimes those signs and signals. Every year, ILCAT targets a different public, and this year we targeted all kinds of distracted people. The theme was distraction, with the motto, "Distraction kills, beware the bubble." I invite you to watch the second video published for ILCAT 2021. This is an example of activities carried out during ILCAD in Russia from in the whole country. Railways, jointly with volunteers and the police forces, carried out some blitz actions at level crossings, either awareing users of the dangers at and around level crossings, handing over safety flyers, and giving fines to offenders. In some countries like India, they advertised a lot in the whole country and had a huge press coverage. They decided also in the South Central Railway region to remove 88 level crossings from that zone at the end of April. I invite you to save those dates. The 14th edition of the International Level Crossing Awareness Day campaign will take place on the 9th of June next year. And on the same day, there will be a launch face-to-face international conference co-organized by UIC and hosted by the Association of American Railroads, the Federal Railway Administration, and Operation Lifesaver in Denver, Colorado, with a technical visit on the 10th of June in Pueblo. There will be also a trespass and suicide prevention special session before the ILCAD event to take place on the 8th of June 2022. Now, I would like to introduce our trespass and suicide prevention activities. On the left-hand side, this is a movie where a stuntman and French actor was running on the Metro Line 6 in Paris. You see that also in James Bond films. On the right-hand side, you see a real photo taken in the UK with people taking selfies on the tracks. We have launched a very new working group on trespass and suicide prevention activities because it is also our first priority for our members. We decided to create that group, and it is chaired by Alexander Ivanenko from Russian Railways and co-chaired by Dr. Anne Mills from RSSB in the UK. We gather about 40 members from the railway sector and academics from USA, Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. We had a kickoff meeting in June, and we will have a second meeting on the 25th of October. We decided to create such a group for statistical reasons because over 90% of all fatalities on the rail infrastructure are third parties, trespassers, and level crossing users, according to the UIC safety database. For strategic reasons, because there was no global platform to tackle these issues, and it was obvious that UIC, representing the railways on a worldwide level, should take the lead on those issues that impact a lot the railway operation of our members. Recently, we sent a questionnaire to our members to know if they have trespass and suicide prevention programs to make an international benchmark on best practices and solutions. We will present the results in October. The main objectives are to publish UIC guidelines in the near future, to update the RSR toolbox. RSR is an EU project that UIC coordinated on trespass and suicide prevention. And why not in the future organize an annual and biannual international awareness campaign and conference similar to ILCAD in the future. ILCAD is part of the UIC events for European Year of Rail 2021, also European Road Safety Charter, and also the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021-2030. On behalf of UIC, I would like to invite you to share your experiences on level crossing safety, trespass, and suicide prevention. Please also join our level crossing safety campaign. I thank you very much for your attention. Do not hesitate to ask me questions if needed. Thank you.
Absolutely, Isabelle. There's a couple of questions that are already in the chat, but I just want to say those two videos that you shared, they touch the nerve. They lend the message exactly where it's supposed to go, because we now see ourselves in those videos. We see how we need to take responsibility and contribute towards railway safety for ourselves as well as for the system. So I've got 3 questions for you that are on the chat. We'll read out those questions. The first one is, when you presented the stats, there's a question from Kenny that says, do you have any differentiation in terms of who was involved using age, gender, and so forth in the accidents that you presented earlier? The second question from Kenny also is, do you conduct safety risk assessments on the level crossing apart from the questionnaires? Can you just quickly deal with those 2 questions? Then I'm going to read out the next question from Sma.
So the first question, I did not get it quite well.
The first question from Kenny says, you presented earlier statistics around the incidents that happened in the road crossing lines. I think that's where he started asking that question from. And the question says, do you have any differentiation in terms of who was involved using age, gender, and other demographics?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the countries that participate in our safety database. Usually they have the age, the gender, and also the type of users. It can be pedestrians, it can be light vehicle users, it can be truck drivers, it can be bus drivers, and so on. So according to the police inquiry, yes, the railways normally know about the age, gender, and so on. And the second question was, do you conduct safety risk assessment? Well, UIC do not carry out some risk assessment. We are an association. We have about 200 members, railway companies, railway infrastructure managers, and usually Europe at least, these are the railway infrastructure managers who carry out the risk assessment. And there is a new law in France, for example, after we had a big accident with a school bus and we had 6 fatalities on the bus, that compels now the road sector and the railway sector to carry out risk assessments together. But it's not compulsory in all countries. But UIC itself do not carry out a risk assessment. And the third question was, influencing and changing human behavior is not easy. Do you measure the extent to which your awareness campaigns are effective? Well, usually on a national level, our members carry out their own national campaigns. They also join the International Awareness Campaign in June, and usually they measure their campaigns on site. So the French railways, for example, the UK railways, they measure their campaigns. On a very international level, it's very different. ILCAD is a kind of club gathering several members in the world, and those people, they are on the field, and these are the people who are measuring the impact of their campaign. What we do is usually we organize some meetings of the task force of ILCAD, and they make presentations and they explain how they organize their own campaign, with which measures, which means, because some countries and some companies are small, they don't have too much budget, so they do what they can. And there are bigger countries with bigger campaigns, so they have some measurements, and they share with us the results of their campaign. So I really invite you to take part in the campaign and in our groups, and to share on information on those issues.
Thank you very much, Isabelle. Thank you for responding to those questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I can deduce that for us to be able to make headway towards a sustainable railway environment, we need to recognize the role the railway plays in our lives, in the economy, and how we can play a role, a meaningful role as society, to be able to increase safety and maintain sustainability in the sector. We also have heard that there is a lot of responsibility placed on us as the users, as the society, and the different institutions within our communities and our government to play and make a meaningful role, a meaningful contribution to increasing safety and making sure that we protect our infrastructure. The involvement of communities can never be overemphasized. My role here is to say, let's all join forces. Let's use the information we've gathered here and engage further and all be part of a solution. I now invite you to the lounge to take a break, gather into more networking, ask more questions from the speakers as well as other audience members. I now hand over back to Africa, who will be announcing the results of the polls. If you haven't done so, please take the next few seconds to click on the polls tab and quickly vote for your speakers. He will be announcing the results shortly.